It's Saturday evening. It's time to talk about the very best comic books in the entire world with a good friend, Drew.
Hey, I'm doing well, Wes. How are you doing today?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I'm certainly doing better than DC Comics in their newest entry into the Absolute Universe. We will get the crap show out of the way first. Absolute Green Lantern #1, Al Ewing, Janoy Lindsay. I did hold out hope for this comic book. If there was anything in Al Ewing's wheelhouse that he might be able to do something interesting with, it was Green Lantern. I don't think that there's one interesting idea or concept introduced in this very first issue. The dumbest take about all this is that somehow John Stewart, Guy Gardner, Joe Mullins, and Hal Jordan are like best friends, even though they've never been in the Green Lantern Corps, and they all live in one city. This is like the stupid Batman's best friends with all his villains, except it kind of makes sense there because they all at least live in Gotham. There's no reason for these people to even know each other.
Yeah, and then we're going to find out that Kyle Rayner's the town mayor, and Kilowog is actually John's dog or something. It's going to be stupid. And the other thing about this issue is that there is no cohesive story here. There really is not a story here. You just have random occurrences happening in this book, people running into each other, and people busting out their jump to conclusion mats and pulling guns on each other after a simple conversation. It is beyond stupid. And when they show the Green Lantern logo like mysteriously crash land in the middle of the town, I'm laughing out loud because it looks ludicrous and it looks stupid. There's nothing scary about it. It's clear he's trying to go for a horror type story here, and there's nothing horrific or scary about this. And besides the art in this book is atrocious. It is horrible. It is mediocre. Actually, like you said, mediocre is a kind word. It is pathetic. And this is going to go down, I strongly believe, as one of the worst of the year by the time we get to December.
Oh, I completely agree with you there, and I think you are spot on with the art. There's nothing about it that stands out as interesting or compelling. And when you get that splash page of the enormous Green Lantern logo apparently falling on Evergreen City or whatever, and you get the little news clip, it's like, this is not edited. We can confirm this is real footage from the scene. There's no editing here. And then you see it, you're like, oh my God, that looks so stupid. They forgot to get an artist that could make that compelling, as if it was going to be a big moment in the thing. And the artist can't even elevate what is a less than mediocre story.
Yeah, I mean, that's just it. There is no story here. We have random occurrences happening in this issue, and there's really no talk of how much time has elapsed between these events. And by the end of the issue, when we see Hal has become the Black Hand, spoiler alert, the female Green Lantern shows up. She's suddenly powered. She's got the Green Lantern logo. She's got the Green Lantern ring. Like, wait, how much time has passed? We have no clue. And it looks like Majin Buu shows up to give her power at some point. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? There's no – if you're left bewildered, congratulations, just like everyone else, because nothing in this issue makes a lick of sense.
The most bewildering thing in the entire comic book was how much time I had to spend realizing if I was in the same fucking diner again or if we'd moved to another diner in another city.
That is time you're never going to get back, Wes. As we all know, time is a valuable, irreproducible a commodity that we're never going to get back. It's very cherishing to us as we get older as well. And the amount of time I spent, like you, like thinking about these things, I feel bad for myself. I feel stupid because never going to get that back.
We certainly spent more time thinking about it than the writer, than the artist did on this one. And just the idea of the big kind of green force field around the town that apparently when you look through it, you can't see what's going on, but some biker ran into the force field and his head exploded.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't. And it trying to do a Stephen King Under the Dome type thing with it, and with a cool artist, the good artist, they could have made that at least visually interesting, visually cool. The artist here blew that, in spades. And look, if you have high expectations for this book, I don't want to read what's in your top 10 list of the year. Jeez.
Well, I would say that the artist blew this, the writer blew it. I would say the editor blew it, and certainly Scott Snyder blew it on this one for not going, wait, let's not make our universe this fucking dumb early on.
Yeah, and this gives a lot more credence to what Rob Liefeld had said several months ago, is that DC tried to get as many top tier artists and writers aboard to do work on these absolute books, and they couldn't get anyone. They had to get C, D, E, F listers, Z listers. This book is a Z list book, and it is terrible.
Absolutely. I'm tired of people telling me Al Ewing is good. He is not good. He's gotten lucky a couple of times. Now, getting to the good stuff, because there were, albeit a very limited amount of good books, but there were a few of them. One indie book to recommend this week, Hyde Street, number 5, Jeff Johns writing, Francis Portela on art. So we have a fill-in artist on this one. I don't think Miss Goodbody, as far as the residents go, is the most compelling one, but we do get her backstory here. She was fat-shaming people, and then she ended up poisoning this fat lady's sister. But Mr. X-Ray needs her so they can stop Pranky, and it sounds like Miss Goodbody might be able to spring herself from Hyde Street. She's only 2 souls away from finally getting released. I would like to know what that means, but I do think it's a good addition to Hyde Street. I would prefer the Ivan Reis art, but it was a very good fill-in artist.
Yeah, it's a very good fill-in artist. And it's an interesting story. I was grinning ear to ear reading the story because it's pretty funny. Just imagine a Jillian Michaels, cranked up to 11 on insanity when it comes to like The Biggest Loser and actually killing someone for it. And she has no redeeming qualities about it. There's no redeeming qualities with this woman at all. She does not feel sorry, does not forgive herself at all, does not blame herself at all. I love that in a villain. She is a true villainous character, and I appreciate that they went that far with her, and I enjoyed the ride with her. And the art is good. It's not Ivan Reis great, but it's still a serviceable art. And yeah, I'm very curious to see where this team up goes with Mr. X-Ray in the future, because they kind of got a mutual enemy, if you will, with the certain little Boy Scout. But we'll see what happens in the future. But yeah, it's a fun issue. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but it's still a fun read.
Absolutely. And unfortunately, that's the only indie comic book that we have to recommend this week. There just wasn't much coming out from anywhere, even at Marvel and DC. So normally we would have more indie books, but this week it's Hyde Street only. Moving over to Marvel, this is my pick of the week. I think this was easily the best comic book of the week. Daredevil, Cold Day in Hell, number 1, Charles Soule writing, Steve McNiven on art. I love Steve McNiven. This isn't my favorite style. I think they probably should have brought in an inker and a colorist with it, but I understand it's a more scaled down, grimier, grittier version of Steve McNiven for this old man Daredevil, kind of Spider-Man Reign feel to it, where you got this really grimy, dark universe set in the future. Daredevil doesn't have any powers anymore, and this particular version of 616 is not very nice. In fact, we see him mugging a blind man and all that stuff, but there is something that happens that brings his powers right back to him. And we get one of the coolest visuals of the year involving Captain America that I thought was just over the top, brutal, and amazing. I did not expect this to be very good. I used to think Charles Soule was one of the better writers in the industry. I have not thought like that in a very long time, but this is definitely changing my mind. It turns out he probably can still write.
Yeah, Wes, I got a lot to say about this book, and a lot of it is most of it is positive. And Charles Soule, he's been a writer that, at one point I agree, he was great. He was a truly great writer. It seemed like as soon as he got into the Star Wars books, he really started dipping in his quality. His Vader run, Master Vader, was good, but then as soon as he got to the High Republic, it just went. His career and quality just went down to the crapper, and I thought he was done. But unfortunately for this book, he shows he's still got it. He's still got a little fight left in him, a little spark, and he shows it here. And I got to give him all the credit in the world. It is a beautiful, beautiful, ugly story, because, like you said, this is an ugly world. And we're introduced to a New York City that has been destroyed after a great battle, and we learned at one point that Daredevil may have teamed up with his greatest foe at one point to fight this enemy off. And the art in this by Steve McNiven is absolutely beautiful. And I do agree, it looks rough, but I think that's a reflection of that world, how rough the world is, and it's a rough art style. That's my argument for that. But yeah, that panel was the pages with Captain America, chef kiss, perfect. It's beautiful. And the reintroduction of Daredevil, as soon as he jumps into action, I'm going to make the argument that is honestly the best illustrated Daredevil action sequence we have gotten in the last decade. I don't think we've seen Daredevil that acrobatic in the last decade. Chip hasn't done it. I think Charles Soule probably did it maybe once or twice before Chip, but I know Saladin Ahmed hasn't done it. But yeah, this is a beautifully well illustrated Daredevil story. It's ugly, but at the end of this, it gets very disgusting when it comes to two certain characters. I'm not going to say who. You got to read to find out who it is. But it's got me left wanting to come back for more. This is like US. This is my pick of the week. This is the strongest it recommends.
And it really did come out of left field. Yes, I remember Charles Soule did Daredevil back in the day. Yes, I liked Steve McNiven. Didn't know what to expect. Ended up getting something very, very cool. Speaking of not knowing what to expect, let's go over to DC Comics. Resurrection Man, Quantum Karma #1, Ram V writing, Anand Irk on art. This is the most Ram V DC comic book he's ever released. The best page in the entire book actually is the Butch Guice opening introduction to who Resurrection Man is and kind of explain it to him. That thing was absolutely amazing. I would love to have a poster of that on my wall. But this was really, really interesting stuff that this Resurrection Man had kind of given up on his gift and then lived out his life to the fullest and had a wife, kids, grandkids, had this amazing life. And then he's resurrected again. But because death had taken him out and time ultimately had destroyed him, he came back with the power to transcend time and really elevates to this new level. And when they finally start talking about some of these older stories in Resurrection Man's life, and they go to World War II, some of the most gruesome stuff that you'll see in comic books these days. This is a Ram V book that I would definitely read on the indies, and I think it fits right at home with this character in DC Comics. Really, really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, likewise. Going into this issue, I was kind of dreading it because, we know with Ram V, he can go either way. And more often than not, I go in thinking, smoke him if you got him. It's going to be a long night because it's going to be a long issue. But no, shockingly, it was a very interesting, thought-provoking, disgusting read, especially when you get past the halfway point in this book when he's during World War II. But yeah, this is very much a story that would fit into the Vertigo line if Vertigo was still alive, if they hadn't been killed unceremoniously. But yeah, I was shocked by how good this was, and I agree that opening page, chef kiss, perfect, beautiful. I want to get more of that, and we see what he has gone through, his resurrection and this rebirth into a new body in World War II, and the cliffhanger with someone who may or may not have the same abilities as him. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Through various means, you're gonna have to read to find out how and why. It's an interesting, gruesome read, and it's got me wanting to check out more Resurrection Man now, honestly, because I wasn't the biggest Resurrection Man fan, I'll be honest. And after reading this, you know what, I kind of dig this character. I want to see more about him. So yeah, this is a good recommend for Resurrection Man. Reminds
me why I am a Ram V fan, and they are bringing back Vertigo Comics. If you've forgotten about that, it's supposed to come back this year at some point. We'll see how that goes. Our final recommendation, and this one might seem a little silly, Teen Titans Go #2, Matthew Cody writing, Eric Owen on art. I have a 5-year-old. He loves the Teen Titans Go cartoon. I have to watch it a lot. So I came in with this, kind of knowing what it is. And I just really enjoyed it. I love it when the Teen Titans Go Robin goes old school detective on everybody that starts interrogating them all. And he's got his cup of coffee and he's spotlighting them because they're trying to find out where Cyborg is. And he's sitting there asking everybody what it is. Tell Beast Boy, he missed a snack fund meeting. Nobody misses a snack fund meeting. It's the best meeting. It's about snacks and money. And Beast Boy's like, I love that one too, yo. And the interactions and the voice of the characters, I could literally hear the characters from the cartoon. And I love the fact that Beast Boy can't remember what actually happened because he was too busy sleeping and dreaming and talking about orangutans don't wear underwear. It's so wild. If you like Teen Titans Go, I think you're going to love this comic book. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, I am aware of Teen Titans Go. I believe it came out in the early 2000s. It came out when I was stationed in England, and I got to see bits and pieces of it. I could tell clearly it was not for me, but I knew who the audience was, and clearly, the audience predominantly is very young children, and I can tell that a young child will very much enjoy this. And I did get a little chuckle as seeing Robin as the old school detective. I thought that was pretty funny. But after that, I'm like, it's not for me. I understand what they're doing. I appreciate what they're doing. I am not the audience for it, but yeah, I could tell a child would very much love this book. So I will recommend that too. If you have a young child, yeah, have them check this out. They'll enjoy it.
Absolutely. If you got a 5 or 6-year-old, maybe even an 8-year-old that likes Teen Titans Go, I think you'll find some enjoyment out of that when you could read it with them and have a good time. And those are all our recommendations. We ain't got a whole lot going on here, but we do have more stuff coming on in the future. We are going to be at Dallas Fan Expo. Drew's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Sparrow's going to be there. Doc might be there. It sounds like Dylan's going to be there. 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, Sully. We got a lot of people all kind of meeting up and converging at Dallas Fan Expo. And you've got a big thing coming out. You got the big guns, the return of Arachnus on a cover for your very own comic book. Dallas Fan Expo exclusive.
Yes. So for Dallas Fan Expo, we have Unholy Nightmare #2 preview edition featuring the return of Arachnus. Not only is it the return of Arachnus on the cover, but we have a 10-page preview edition shows the return of Arachnus, illustrated by Michael Ortiz, as well as written by myself. I will be the ongoing scripter for the new Arachnus series coming out later this year and next year. Michael did the pencils, Andrew Mangum did the inks, Gene did colors. I couldn't be happier with it. And there are going to be limited quantities at Dallas Fan Expo. Be sure you stop by to get this book. You will not regret it.
And if you appreciate what we're doing here, highlighting all the really cool stuff, we do have a show similar to this on Think Critical Patreon called the Hot or Not Podcast. But we don't only talk about the good stuff. We talk about the bad stuff, everything in between, all the hottest new releases from Marvel, DC, and indie comic books. But you do have to be a member of the Patreon. There's a link in the video description button right here. If you want to be part of the family, support the mission. That's the best place to do it. And you get awesome podcasts for supporting the channel.